We don't always get to everything that's sent to us, and a couple things do fall through the cracks until now.
Welcome to our first ever weekly roundup. Welcome to the Homebrew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and this is our very first weekly roundup.
Yeah, so essentially what these videos are going to be is we get a lot of stuff in our inbox, comments on videos, comments on Facebook, and people send us really neat links to things or ideas, or sometimes me and you are just kind of on social media and we find some really neat things.
Just flipping through, up and down through Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, and all of a sudden you see something, it catches your eye, but then we never get a chance to really talk about it, right?
Yeah, and a lot of these things are not necessarily things we might want to do full review on, but they do actually deserve a little bit of mention for certain things about it. So we kind of want to take that time to do that now.
And one of the things that we have in here is a class that was sent to us by one of our viewers. Mm-hmm. So we figured this is a great way for us each week to be able to go through those things and at least showcase some of our viewers' creations as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually have a couple things in here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we've got.
Starting with the Muppet Born. Okay, this is the Muppet Born.
The Muppet Born, obviously, it's very heavily inspired by another medium, if you can't tell already. But they are, again, kind of based off of Muppets. So you kind of have these people that... It's funny because they talk about how they actually don't have a lower half.
Oh, well, that comes in on their first ability thing, which I think is interesting. So here they are, the Muppet Born. There's a pink one. There's a blue one. Anything else like that. But always obscured. This is one of the I read this and I laughed hysterically with it. No matter how you look at them, Muppet Born's bottom half is always out of view.
Yeah, so mechanically speaking, they always have half cover and a permanent +2 to AC, but they're always shuffling. It's actually a shuffling speed rather than a normal walk speed. And yeah, they have a couple of things. They have like a mage hand that they have access to. They actually have 3 different ones you can pick from that give you a certain stat bonus. But really, it's kind of a fun little quirky sub-race that you can pick if you want to. I just think it's pretty funny that they've kind of turned this, Sesame Street kind of thing into an actual race.
No, totally. And they get some interesting. They get the mage hand. Automatically, because there's always a hand inside them. It's something like that. Num 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 I thought was hilarious with this because, as you know, Cookie Monster, for example, never actually eats the cookies.
Yeah, it kind of flies all over the screen and it kind of probably, in theory, drops on the floor. Sorry to break your guys' dreams about that.
Right.
And then you actually get this feature where you can use Mending to heal, and Common, Clothing, and Ventrilo as your known languages. So that's a little interesting.
Ventrilo?
Yeah.
Like the chat platform?
Maybe, I don't know.
But this is one of the ones that we thought. There are 3 sub-races for this. We found this one. I found this on Facebook, but it is from a Reddit post as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll put the links down below of where we found these, or at least links to an imager so you guys can actually see these images or what have you. The next thing we're going to look at, though, this one keeps coming up in my feed.
I feel like I'm really out of tune with the D&D community because we looked this up. We were trying to find the picture of this creature, and there are miniatures, there is lore, there's all this stuff about this Banana Knight.
Yeah, personally, I think I don't see the appeal. Sorry, couldn't help it. But it definitely is a really awesome thing, though, because I see this as a monster. I see it as miniatures. People have made miniatures of this thing online. And it's got some pretty interesting, funny abilities with that, like the surprise attack.
Yeah, so it's always kind of sliding into combat, so it does have that sneak attack or surprise attack thing when it enters combat. It actually does have a banana slide, so kind of similar to like a Tabaxi, it can actually kind of move its full speed. But one thing that's really interesting is the banana split feature. So it kind of makes you think that maybe this might be some kind of random NPC that may assist the party. But essentially, you roll a d4 to determine how many rounds the Banana Knight aids the adventuring party. So it kind of, I imagine as you kind of like toss this in, and it kind of helps a little bit, and then it like goes away.
It splits?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, horrible.
I know.
Horrible.
It's bad, but it's great.
Horrible. It does have some, it's basic stuff. It's got a magic rapier with that, all of that. But I really love the concept of this, and the artwork is hilarious.
Yeah.
I've been finding that, I like that. Yeah. I like that. And this is not the only Banana Knight that's out there. There are several Banana Knight minis.
There are.
And they all look different.
Many variations, yes.
Now, this one, this is the Mittens of Redistribution. These are Bernie's mittens.
Yeah, some of you may have instantly recognized this from memes and recent photos. But besides the fact that it's a magical pair of gloves, it does have a couple of interesting features kind of in there. So you basically kind of have these on, and you can give the party basically like, one of these features at a time.
Right.
So it's +5 defense to cold attacks, +3 on charisma, checks out of combat. You can give yourself +5 on all grapple and climbing rolls. There's this one called Universal Healthcare. So basically each member gains 1 use of Healing Word, and then the other one is like advantage on offensive rolls against creatures with chaotic evil alignment.
Now, the redistribution of wealth, though, is what I think is hilarious about this.
Yeah.
So basically with these mittens with it, the wearer can choose to instantly convert an item to its fair market value. So you found that, that diamond worth 250 gold or more, you can instantly convert it, but then you have to evenly distribute it across all of your party.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. It I don't know. It just screams Bernie to me.
It does. And of course, do keep in mind, a lot of these items or things that you're seeing may not be perfectly balanced or completely tested. Like, for example, we don't even really have a rarity on this particular item. So, it's hard to tell if this works in a real campaign or if you can just toss this in. But it's a nice, fun idea. It's a nice, fun little item that you might want to tinker with. So it's something to kind of look at.
Now, the next item here really isn't an item per se, but this is some artwork that we came across. And this is a violin bow.
Yeah.
And I think it's a perfect example of how art can inspire a D&D campaign with it, right? Or at least an item or something with that.
A lot of times when I'm kind of scrolling through like Instagram and stuff, you'll kind of often pass by pictures of people's characters or pictures of magic items or weapons. And in a way, it's kind of a bit of a homebrew because you're kind of like formulating ideas. And this is actually really cool. So it's basically a violin that kind of converts itself into a bow. And again, like a regular violin, you would use the bow to kind of play the violin there. But I just love the concept and idea in here. I feel like there's a lot of potential with maybe this being like a bardic weapon plus its own
a bardic
instrument.
weapon? You're kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a crazy idea. But like things like this, even just like a drawing or like an artwork, really kind of could spawn a lot of ideas and a lot of inspiration just from what it is. We're gonna leave a link to the artist down below as well. Yep. It's got some really great stuff. There's actually a full drawing.
There's a character spread on it.
Yeah,
too,
exactly. It's really, really cool.
Now, this last thing came from one of our viewers here, Thomas McQueen, and he sent us this one for the Summoner Night, so I figured we could do a quick review on what we think with each of these things. So the Summoner Knight is a mysterious and feared warrior of the Vale. The Summoner Knight masters the power using latent magic to summon a creature from its home plane to aid them in battle. Surrounded by fearless and loyal companions, they charge into the fray, cycling swarm of fangs and strikes. So this is someone who summons something from another realm to come and help you, but it's a fighter base.
Yeah, and it kind of takes it sort of reminds me of like the Pact of the Chain Warlock, where you kind of get this buddy to help you out. It definitely doesn't do as many things, but for certain reason, and a lot of times we do get a lot of requests to review a summoner type class. This is definitely something a little different because it's a fighter class, so we wouldn't typically associate it with maybe a spellcaster or something. But even at level 3, you can kind of just spawn in the CR2 creature. It doesn't really do a lot. Literally, it really only kind of does the thing where you can make an opportunity attack as a reaction, but you do it where it's spaced at.
Right,
Pretty
so
cool.
you can send this thing out and then, or pace it so that you're flanking the thing, for example. Flanking rules again. But you can make it do that so that they both get the opportunity attack or anything like that too, right?
Yeah.
So there's that familiar that you get. But then at 5th level, you get Brutal Hunt.
Yeah, so basically when you take the attack action, you can make 1 additional melee attack from the creature's position. I'm assuming this is going to kind of overrule the multi-attack because you're going with this attack. So it's not like you're going to be multi-attacking and then getting an additional attack. It's kind of just again, an opportunity to use your familiar to attack, so kind of adds that little feature. 7th level kind of improves on that, so now your creature can be CR4, and you get, again, kind of going back to that Pact of the Chain, you can now see through it even though you're blind and deafened. So it kind of a way to your little camera, basically. It
has a certain thing to it, because I look at the Druid and Circle of the Moon stuff and what have you, and you look at that and you go, CR4 is kind of strong for a 7th level, right? It's the only thing I would kind of look at this and go, okay, is there ways that you can actually make this thing more useful but less deadly? I mean, really, truly, you're a fighter. You're still getting all of those extra attacks and all of those different bonuses that you would get, you have to realize that doing damage is kind of your thing, right?
Right.
So to have another creature out damaging those things, I would just look at it and go, maybe there's a few things you can tweak with that.
Yeah, because I love the concept, this idea that you're having this familiar in here assisting you, but it would be really cool to find a way to really kind of like intertwine that with the core mechanics of a fighter, you know, kind of similar to how like a champion or a battle master focuses on the core mechanics and just improving on it.
Right. You know, there was one that we I don't know if we even reviewed it or not, but there's one that we looked at where it was the warrior who can summon the mount or what have you.
Yeah,
and he was able to charge with it, like the monsters you had gave you a different ability or something to that effect.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just kind of a thing of like, what would a warrior do with a monster that shows, with a planar being that shows up?
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, using it to that advantage. That might be something you might want to look at.
Yeah, but that being said, some of the abilities are really cool. Like at 15th level, whenever it gets destroyed by taking damage, you actually gain a number of temporary hit points. So it kind of gives you like a little bit of buff even though it goes away. And then at 18th level, you actually get the ability to summon 2 creatures in, and they can be CR 8 or lower. So again, kind of building off of the previous abilities.
Now, this is a really cool one, and we actually only brought this one up because it does kind of make that great. It does have a very specific thing that, you know, that class can do. It has some really good foundation in that. And we wanted to help you improve it a little bit. Now, there is a lot of things that don't necessarily make that grade. That we get. Believe me, there's a lot. But at the same time, don't feel like we're, you know, poo-pooing the idea. In fact, we really like it. Yeah,
absolutely not. I think the idea behind this is to kind of bring up really good concepts and see how the community can help kind of make it even a lot better.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for our first one of this thing. The weekly roundup. That's going to round it up. I guess.
Basically, yeah.
But it is something that we were curious to see if you guys want us to do more of these. We do definitely have a good stack of things to review and go over.
And we definitely wanted to take an opportunity to explore things that may not be, you know, necessarily perfect for a review or something like that. We want to take a chance to take a look at things that like maybe could use some work, or maybe things that are just going to have a good idea and something that we can work off of.
So we're going to do this in an interesting way. Go ahead and like the video if you want us to do more, and dislike the video if you want us to do less of this thing. And we will make the determination as of next week.
Yeah, exactly.
But until then, remember, the best campaigns, items, monsters, and more are the ones that are homebrewed. So until next time,
keep brewing.